Welcome, Dr. Divya. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Aditya, for inviting me for this discussion today. We've been planning this for many, many months, and I'm happy that we can do it today, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I remember कि हम इसको जुलाई से प्लान कर रहे हैं. I want to thank you for sparing your precious time. Busy
Always a
schedule में
pleasure.
से
Always.
तुम आपने time निकाला, and I hope that these small little efforts will help lot many students and lot fellow PhD student PhD fellows in India. So सबसे पहले कैसी हैं आप?
बिल्कुल बढ़िया. It's a morning. I'm in Toronto, Canada, and अभी बहुत ही wintry, snowy morning है. So I'm good. And Happy New Year to you and to everybody watching.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. So let's jump into our discussion. So मैं जानना चाहता हूँ कि like I know that you did your PhD from India, from IIT Jodhpur. हम fellow PhD scholars थे. So I don't know about after PhD, your journey till today that you are currently working as assistant professor in University of Toronto. ये बहुत लोगों का dream होता है. मतलब it's a dream job and dream location. So I want to know about the journey so far.
So you rightly mentioned, मैंने अपना PhD complete किया 2019 में IIT जोधपुर से. It was from the computer science department there. I specialized in machine learning and computer vision during my PhD. उसके बाद, due to some personal reasons, my family got transferred to Toronto, Canada. I had to move here. And I was lucky enough to find a very vibrant research community here. So, just to give you a brief background about the research community here. So, there are a group of hospitals within University Health Network. So, about 8 hospitals are there. So they specialize in various public health concerns. So एक hospital है जो lung transplant, liver transplant research पे focus कर रहा है और उस पे clinical practitioners काम कर रहे हैं. एक hospital है जो cancer studies पे काम कर रहा है. एक hospital है जो mental addiction पे काम कर रहा है. ऐसे 8 hospitals हैं. And उसमें the clinicians are very interested in conducting research with the medical data that they have and the very pressing clinical questions that they have. So they seek researchers from the University of Toronto that specialize in statistical analysis, machine learning, etc., to help them answer their clinical questions and to help them translate all the clinical challenges into practice. तो कुछ ऐसी स्टडीज करने को कर रहे हैं वो जिससे हेल्प हो सके उनको क्लिनिकल डिसीजन मेकिंग में और भी उनको ऑटोमेट हो सके उनका प्रोसेस. So that's a very, very popular research area here in Toronto. And I was fortunate that I got a postdoctoral fellowship at one of the hospitals within the University Health Network to start with in 2019. So I joined Princess Margaret Cancer Center as the University Health Network's hospital and also University of Toronto during my postdoctoral fellowship. So there was like a joint fellowship that I acquired. And uske baad, I started working in cancer studies and developing machine learning models towards cancer, targeted towards cancer studies. And 2019 से 2021 तक I did my postdoctoral fellowship here. And post that, I applied for a biostatistician position at, again, the Princess Margaret Cancer Center. Biostatistician position में मैं machine learning का ही काम करती हूँ. I apply machine learning to clinical studies. And also, 50% of my time is research and 50% of my time is teaching. So I applied for an assistant professor position at School of Public Health within the University of Toronto. And I was successful to get that. So मैं अपना time divide करती हूँ teaching में और research में. And that has been my journey up till today. And continuing in that particular domain further.
Okay, so it looks like ये एक बहुत ही बड़ा एक research group है that is with prime objective of developing the solutions in telemedicine domain, right?
Telemedicine or medicine to be translated in clinical practice. टूल्स बनाने के लिए, एप्लीकेशंस बनाने के लिए जो
हम्म,
क्लिनिशियन यूज कर सके डायरेक्टली।
with the help of AI primarily. So, एक क्वेश्चन आ रहा है मेरे दिमाग में कि दो स्टूडेंट्स दोज हु आर हैविंग अ प्लेन बैकग्राउंड ऑफ एआई, they don't have any knowledge of medical, and so will that be, or will only that be helpful, or वो जो मेडिकल की एक नॉलेज है दैट इज, या जिनकी पीएचडी, लाइक मी, आई हैव माय पीएचडी इन एआई प्लस बायोमेडिकल एरिया, सो वो हेल्प करेगा, या सिंपल प्लेन बैकग्राउंड जिनका डीप लर्निंग या मशीन लर्निंग में, दैट विल बी एनफ?
That's a great question. Actually, मेरा background core computer vision में था. मेरा PhD was in document images based image retrieval. So again, very disconnected from the health research area. जब मैं यहाँ आई तो then you have to be proactive and you have to make the efforts to kind of bridge the gap between
करेक्ट
health
करेक्ट।
research area and your core computer science knowledge. That's what I did. I applied for a fellowship which was called Statistical Training in Advanced Genetic Epidemiology. उसमें सेशंस एवरी वीक होते थे जो हेल्थ रिलेटेड या फिर क्लिनिकल रिलेटेड प्रोफेसर्स कंडक्ट करते थे, एंड दैट रियली हेल्प्ड मी टू काइंड ऑफ अंडरस्टैंड क्लिनिकल टर्म्स, क्लिनिकल जो भी बैकग्राउंड थे. तो अगेन
Even meeting with different doctors and related
definitely.
help.
So within the university health network, जितने भी seminars होते थे initially, तो I really put in a lot of effort to kind of get to every group possible and understand the clinical background. But again, if you have, as you're mentioning, you have prior experience in biomedical methodologies, that will definitely help. That will, your transition would be smoother, but that is not required, as was the case with me. मैं completely different fields.
Okay, so Dr. Divya, my next question is for Indian students who are seeking their career as a PhD student in Canada. So could you shed some light on the any funded opportunities, whether it government or private, scholarships available for Indian students, particularly in Canada for PhD admission?
Sure. So Aditya, as I mentioned, मैं पोस्ट डॉक्टरेट करने आई थी, तो मेरे को PhD स्टूडेंट स्कॉलरशिप्स का ज्यादा आइडिया नहीं है, बट व्हाटएवर आई हैव gotten knowledge from the internet, I'll just explain that to you. So एक scholarship बहुत famous है यहाँ पे, which is the Trillium Scholarship. Again, it's not India specific, but they allot a lot of fellowships to PhD students. So they have a lot of quota for sponsoring students. So Trillium scholarships is a very is something that people apply to. Then there is something called as Canada India Research Center of Excellence program. Again, I do not know anybody personally who has applied through it, but I've heard that again they allot a lot of fellowships to Indian students. So maybe I can share those links with you to put in your description section for students to benefit from. But within University of Toronto as well, once you get here, you can apply for various grants and various fellowships based on your projects. So once you're a PhD student here, you have secured admission here. In the first year of your PhD, with the help of your supervisor, you can propose some project which can be beneficial in the research community here. And on the basis of that, you can get grants and fellowships. So many students take that route as well. So I think
okay, you mean to say that first secure a PhD, whether it's a funded or not, and then join the opportunity, join the university, and then within a span of 1 year, you can arrange some funding for you with the help of supervisor.
And another point to note here is कि funded होगी वो fellowship given जिस supervisor के पास आप apply कर रहे हैं उनके पास funds होते हैं. So as assistant professors, you have grants to support your students
Okay,
that you're supervising. So you just need to reach out to a professor of your interest, let them know that you are in need for financial aid, and they'll be able to tell you that whether they have the resources to support your application. And mostly होते हैं people when they are advertising कि वो अपना position डाल रहे हैं, they do have funds to support the position.
Okay, okay. So एक क्वेश्चन आ रहा है मेरे दिमाग में, like What is the average tenure of PhD in Canada?
Um, in my experience, I've heard people complete their PhD at an average in 5 years. Again, because I didn't do my PhD here, I wouldn't have much knowledge about that.
So, Divya, my next question is, what advice would you give to Indian PhD graduates who are considering academic positions in Canada?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, मैं यही कहूंगी कि सबसे पहली चीज जो मैंने यहाँ नोटिस करी वो है कि Canadian experience somewhere on your CV is required to get a job, especially in
Hmm.
the research sector. So for that, a postdoctoral fellowship can be a bridge to get a Canadian
Hmm.
experience on your
Correct, correct.
CV. So postdoctoral fellowship से आप start करिए. Now, अगर मैं अपना एक्सपीरियंस बताऊं तो विद इन तो मैं आई तो रिसर्च करने थी पोस्ट डॉक्टरेट
Correct.
फेलोशिप में, बट फ्रॉम द वेरी गेट गो मैंने अपने सुपरवाइजर को मेंशन किया था दैट टीचिंग इज समथिंग आई एम पैशनेट अबाउट और ये मैं परस्यू करना चाहती हूँ, तो अगर कोई ऐसी अपॉर्चुनिटी हो तो आप प्लीज मुझे बताइएगा. तो he was also a professor at is also a professor at University of Toronto. So within time, when I published my first paper, he got confidence in my abilities, etc. Then he gave me one lecture in his course in one of the sessions in year 2020. Was one lecture I put in all my efforts and put in all of my hard work to deliver the best lecture out there. Um, and it was based on machine learning, so I had background knowledge about that. But again, to just translate that into classroom, etc., was a good learning for me. Uh, so that went well. Student feedback was good. In the next session, to 2021, I got 3 lectures. Then in now in 2022, I designed my own course. और उसी दौरान I applied for the assistant professor position. I designed my own course single-handedly, independently, and वो course का feedback बहुत अच्छा रहा students का. So again, what I'm trying to tell here is that step by step, one should progress in the teaching area here. If you are in your postdoctoral fellowship, make it known to your
Hmm.
supervisor about your
Hmm.
interest. Generally, they are very supportive. And again, you have to kind of prove your mettle, as in
Wow.
you know your background, you know your research well, etc. And make the most of the opportunity that you get. So even if it's like a small thing, even if it's a presentation that you're delivering in your
Hmm.
lab, make the best of that opportunity, make it the best presentation ever. And that's how people will know that you have good communication skills, that you can deliver your knowledge well, etc., and that will help them to make it. So you can't imagine somebody to give everything to you on a platter. You have to
Hmm.
proactively
Correct, correct.
make
Even like you are thinking of being a professor at a university in some other country, or and you have to prove that you are a good teacher, you are a good researcher, and being a teacher, it's all about delivering the thoughts. आपको कितना आता है अगर आप अच्छे से बता नहीं पाओगे, so how they will judge? And both things are important equally in this profession.
definitely.
Independent researcher, कम्युनिकेशन सो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. एंड वो एक बार में नहीं हो जाएगा. लाइक एक कंक्लूजन हम ये भी निकाल सकते हैं दैट इफ यू आर थिंकिंग दैट यू आर जस्ट अ पीएचडी ग्रेजुएट इन इंडिया एंड यू आर ट्राइंग टू बिकम असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर इन कनाडा, सो एंड यू हैव अप्लाइड एंड यू हैव गॉट एन इंटरव्यू कॉल एंड यू हैव जस्ट सेलेक्टेड, ये तो पॉसिबल आई डोंट थिंक कि इसमें हम 100% कह सकते हैं, बट आई विल से 99% नहीं होगा ऐसा. यू हैव टू ज्वाइन एज अ somewhere join as a researcher, and then you have to prove your research skills and teaching skills both to convince the university where you are trying to become a.
And also at the same time, you are competing. So within मेरा postdoctoral research lab जो था, उसमें many of the students who were doing postdoctorate were PhDs from University of Toronto. So they have an edge above you because they are
Hmm.
already familiar to the professors there. They're already familiar to the environment, academic environment here. तो उनके साथ अगर आपको prove करना है, because no people know IIT, but again you need to prove your
True.
worth.
Yes, yes.
So
When you are from IIT, then expectations from you are also very high.
exactly.
वो आपसे
So
उस लेवल का फिर एक्सपेक्ट भी तो करेंगे कि यार यू आर फ्रॉम आईआईटी, यू मस्ट बी नोइंग एवरीथिंग फ्रॉम योर एरिया, इन योर एरिया, राइट?
And one more point that I wanted to mention, Aditya, was that यहाँ पे CV का भी एक format होता है, which the job employers seek when people are applying for their position. So that's called the Canadian CV, Canadian Curriculum Vitae format. So उसके लिए, again, I'll send you a link where one can design their whole CV based on the format required by Canadian companies. And that will be very useful for people who are applying. So again, it's just rearranging whatever you write on your CV based on the format that they require. But I found that very useful in applying for the jobs here, because then they know that you're familiar with their formatting, etc., and that really helps.
अच्छा, ये मैं पहली बार सुन रहा हूँ।
Hmm.
मतलब ऐसा भी कुछ है कि सीवी का कोई एक पर्टिकुलर कंट्री का कोई फॉर्मेट है। ओके, नाइस। Okay, so our next question is, are there any ongoing research projects or similar initiatives at University of Toronto or in your department that you would like to highlight?
जैसे मैंने बताया, again, there are 8 different hospitals which have their own research agendas. Again, working towards health related challenges. So I would recommend anybody who wants to explore this domain to just go to profiles of doctors who are working in these hospitals and who are interested in research. One avenue can also be through something called as a Vector AI Institute. Now, this institute is affiliated with the University of Toronto. At the same time, it's working in the field of AI with the clinicians at University Health Network. And they have a lot of ongoing research projects, which you can, again, let them know that you're interested in, you have background for, or you're able to contribute to. And agar unke paas positions honge, they'll definitely let you know. But in this domain, you would also need to kind of inquire from the clinicians who are working in this area. So just reach out. So within the hospitals, you can reach out. There's this section for all the clinicians who are interested in research. They are called clinician scientists. So आप यूनिवर्सिटी हेल्थ नेटवर्क की वेबसाइट पे जाके क्लिनिशियन साइंटिस्ट सेक्शन में जाएंगे, आपको सब साइंटिस्ट का इंफॉर्मेशन मिल जाएगी एंड उनका रिसर्च एरिया भी मिल जाएगा. And I would recommend reaching out directly to them via email and let your background be known to them. And again, if they'll have a position, they'll definitely be interested in collaborating. And this is also applicable even if you don't want to come for your PhD or your postdoc here. If you just want to pursue a research project, they're always interested in hiring PhD students for short internships for their projects, etc. So
Okay.
once you go to their profile, you can definitely let them know that you're interested for an internship position, and they'll also direct you to funding opportunities in that area. So internships is one avenue. Again, PhD तो है ही और postdoc है ही, पर postdoc PhD का लोग बहुत कम vacancies कभी-कभी निकालते हैं, but internships, because I know people personally here that they are looking for qualified individuals to solve their ML-based analysis problems. So they'll always be happy to entertain you in case they are in need of someone.
Okay, so our next question is, Divya, you have studied from India and you are working in Canadian environment, research environment. So what sort of difference you find in the approach of research in both the countries in a positive way? So that those students who are looking their academic careers in Canada, they can prepare themselves accordingly.
Definitely. To start with, Indian research environment काफी अच्छा है. There are many positives to take away from the Indian research environment itself. One being the competitive nature of our academic environment that really helps us to be prepared for the challenges globally. अगर हम कहीं भी कोई भी global position के लिए apply करते हैं, जो getting into a top tier institute in India is itself a big hurdle that many people through their focus, etc., try to cross. So again, there are many positives to take away from Indian research environment, but where I feel that we can also benefit from the positives that I have observed here in Canada is, firstly, one does they do not shy from collaboration, and
Hmm.
which is, I think, an essential building block to research. Be it so, I have been contacted by like the director of a research institute because they wanted to solve a clinical problem that they had in hand, and they needed ML expertise to kind of solve it in a very tight deadline that they had. And a person of that stature would just shoot you an email and be like, this is the task, I want this to be completed, I don't have anywhere else to reach out, I know of you, can you help me in this? So again,
Hmm.
कि कोई हायरार्की मैंने नहीं देखी ज्यादा यहाँ पे, कोई apprehension नहीं देखा to reach out for collaborations. The only thing that matters is to get your job done, because everybody is interested in like being productive in their research, having as many publications, as many tools out there to help the research community. So one takeaway that I would really tell everyone to benefit from, even if they're doing their PhD or their BTech projects, etc., would be that collaborate with a person you think knows what they're doing, and you do not have knowledge
Hmm.
in that particular area, but you know that your project can benefit from this person. Get them on board, and proceed very quickly in getting to your objective, rather than आइसोलेशन में बैठ के, जो कि मैंने नोटिस करा था अपनी पीएचडी के दौरान भी, और मैं भी खुद भी ऐसे ही करती थी कि ये मेरा टास्क है, ये मैं खुद करूंगी, चाहे मुझे 5 दैट
हाँ,
आई
ये
डोंट
तो सही बात है,
वैसे
मतलब जो जो शॉर्ट कमिंग्स है उसको एक्सेप्ट करने में कोई बुराई नहीं है।
एग्जैक्टली exactly. और
Correct.
दूसरे से आपको सीखने को ही मिलता है
या
कुछ
डेफिनेटली,
और।
आई मीन, आई आपकी फेलो पीएचडी स्कॉलर डॉक्टर श्रेया, उसके साथ मैंने लास्ट ईयर वीडियो किया था ऑन द टॉपिक ऑफ इंटर्नशिप। सो शी वाज आल्सो मेकिंग दिस स्टेटमेंट दैट कि अपने बबल से बाहर आना जरूरी है।
ट्रूली
और एक जो
ट्रूली
ये जो that you have mentioned that you got an email from a director stature, so ये indicate करता है कि how light minded they are, right? They are not taking their position on their shoulders, जिससे आपको एक burden feel है। You will be feeling very free to share your thoughts. You will be not thinking कि मैं ये क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा तो I will sound like an idiot
एग्जैक्टली।
फ्रंट ऑफ
सो वही
एवरीवन। जो सबसे
अगेन,
बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है, जो सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है अपनी अपने एजुकेशन सिस्टम की, कि हम क्वेश्चन पूछने से डरते हैं बिकॉज हमें ये लगता है कि सबके सामने आई विल बी लुकिंग लाइक एन इडियट, कि ये तुम्हें नहीं आता, दिस इज यू डोंट नो।
एंड ऑल्सो उसके एडिशन में आई वुड लाइक टू ऐड कि हायरार्की बहुत है, अप्रोचेबल ही नहीं होते सर्टेन इंडिविजुअल्स इन द इंडियन
हाँ।
एकेडेमिया, कि इस इंसान से मैं बात ही नहीं कर सकता इस लेवल पे, क्योंकि मैं एक स्टूडेंट। सो अगेन, to have this quality as you progress in your jobs, etc., would, and I really try to inculcate that in me, is that कि approachable बनिए। आपको सब आता नहीं है और सामने वाला भी आपसे कुछ सीख कर रहा है, so be approachable. People should not hesitate in connecting with you. You should not hesitate in connecting with people for mutual interest or mutual research benefit. एंड थर्ड चीज जो मैं एक स्टूडेंट को जो वहां पे परस्यू कर रहा है पढ़ाई, उसको बताना चाहूंगी कि वंस यू कम to an international environment, and I can only speak about Canada, is that you should be, and I mentioned that before in one of the answers, that you should be proactive. So, given from my experience, जैसे मैंने फर्स्ट ईयर ऑफ माय पोस्ट डॉक्टरल फेलोशिप, मैंने हर ग्रुप जो यहाँ मौजूद था वहां पे जाके उनकी मीटिंग्स अटेंड करी, आई पुट इन माय टाइम देयर, एंड I made sure I asked one question and tried to answer one question within the group meeting, so that they know that I'm working in this area. This is a researcher who's come from an international place, and she's working in this area, and she's interested in our research. And usse connections bante gaye. So if you'll be quiet in your lab doing your own research in your postdoctoral जो भी आपकी जर्नी रहती है, आई थिंक दैट विल नॉट हेल्प। यू हैव टू पुट योरसेल्फ आउट देयर, यू should be open to collaboration, you should be open to lend your help or ask for help whenever there is an opportunity, and that will make you network, because networking ही काम आती है आगे। जैसे आप असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर पोजीशन के लिए अप्लाई करेंगे, you would need recommendation letters from good places or good professors or people you're working with. So इस नेटवर्किंग के थ्रू ही बनेगा एंड वो स्टेप बाय स्टेप आप इसी तरह कर सकते हैं जब यू पुट योरसेल्फ आउट देयर. So I think that would be one advice that I will.
And
So
yes,
don't sit
and
down in your lab in your one chair and your one computer. You can do amazing research and वो मुझे उसमें कोई doubt नहीं है. But collaboration always helps. Is what my opinion is.
and of course, asking question may or may not will make you look like an idiot, but definitely it will show that you are listening carefully.
And you're interested in the research and you have something to
Yeah.
offer as well, if in case you have.
Yes.
So I think आपको again just put yourself out there once you're in the job environment. PhD हो गई, अब यहाँ आए हैं आप, तो आप networking करिए जितना आप possible कर पाए.
Correct. So my last question, Divya, for today's session is: are there any vacancies under your supervision? I mean, कोई तो देख रहा होगा स्टूडेंट जो कि सोच रहा होगा कि मशीन लर्निंग में कोई जान पहचान वाला जो मुझे जिसको मैं अप्रोच कर सकता हूँ, some known people, so they can apply.
Yeah. So currently, because मैंने अपना assistant professor position इसी साल 2023 जुलाई में start करा है, I cannot supervise a person individually, independently. I can co-supervise a PhD student currently with another supervisor who has been doing that for some time. So I would recommend people to apply to let me know about their interests in a project or any particular research domain that you're interested in. Connect with me over my email. Again, I'll share that with you in your description section. And फिर we can get talking about the projects that I am interested in, and then we can find a co-supervisor where both of us can fund that PhD project and help a person get their PhD or their postdoctoral fellowship from here. So again, I cannot do that single-handedly currently, given the nature of my appointment. But once I have a PhD student admitted and who has secured a PhD from University of Toronto, then I'll be able to fund them independently. So currently they can reach out to me and I can tell them the avenues to apply for a co-supervisor position for me as a co-supervisor.
Okay, nice. So मुझे तो बहुत मजा आया.
Same here, Aditya.
I really enjoyed this session today, and I heartily want to thank Divya for this session, and I am 100% sure that this is going to be very helpful for the aspirants who are looking their career in Canada. So again, thank you, Divya, for taking your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Aditya. It was a nice discussion, and always look forward to talking to you. And I hope we can have such more discussions in the future. Yeah, and have a good day.